Hey, it's Steven with Curvy Woodworking, and this video will show you how I made this Japanese style bent wood lamp.
Typically for every other project I complete, I use new material that I buy from the store. This time I want to see what I could make using reclaimed material that we had from a demolition job of a Frank and Oak store that we completed a couple months back. So I'm going to start off by making a bunch of pieces for the base. I'm going to cut them to shape, then I'm going to take them to the sander, and I'm going to put some curvature in the bottom just to give it a little more of a decor feel. Afterwards I'm going to take it and glue it onto a piece of plywood. That's going to act as a base, and it's going to be hidden, so I'm not going to do any finishing works with that. It's just there to support the light. The lamp's going to be approximately 4 feet tall, so I want to make it have a corner on each end. So I'm going to cut 45-degree angle lengthwise on the teak wood. Now I'm going to be cutting them in half afterwards, since these are full 8-foot lengths. I'm going to conjoin the two pieces, and that's going to be the supports on all the corners. To complete the glue up for 90-degree corners, you don't want to be using any clamps. All you're going to do is put a piece of tape on the back, on the corner of each side, and then you're going to be putting glue in between the 45-degree seams that you have in the middle, and you're going to fold them up and you're going to tape all the joints together on either end. That's going to be enough strength until the glue dries, and you're going to have a perfect 90-degree cut. If you put clamps on there, it would have a lot of binding and moving around, and it would slip along your edge and you wouldn't get a perfect glue up. Since the inside of the lamp is going to be hidden, I'm just going to get a couple pieces of scrap wood and I'm going to glue them onto the interior, and that's going to hold the 90-degree edge onto that. I'll be doing a glue up later on where they stand vertically supported off of those nubs. I'm going to be cutting slots into the top section of the lamp, similar to how I cut the sections into the bottom section of the lamp, and they're all going to slide into place with one another. I'm going to make this a bit bigger than the bottom so I can make a feature where the wood bends and expands on its way upwards. I got my inspiration from Japanese architecture, so right now I'm just making it larger and I'm going to fine cut it later on. Now that I have the top and bottom where I want it to be, I'm going to start to construct the flexing parts that'll connect between the two. That'll be the curvature from the base towards the top. So I need to make sure that these pieces are very thin, that they will bend naturally without any steam added to it. To attach it to the top and bottom, I cut them all the same length so that the curvature will be consistent throughout every piece. And I'm just going to put some glue on there with a couple of no-head nails. So these are finishing nails that you can barely see by the eye, and as an extra step I'm just going to mix up some sawdust with glue later on just to patch those very tiny holes. I'm going to be installing some plexiglass later on to give a warm look throughout the lamp, so I'm going to put a skirt around the top and bottom just to conceal the rough cut joints so it looks like a solid piece throughout. Now, I put some curvature on the outside, but I had some leftover thin pieces, so I decided to put some extra curvature of bent wood on the inside. So I'm just going to connect the top and bottom and make a concave heading towards the center of each lamp position. And I think that ties in with the curvature that I've installed previously from the base to the top. So there's a lot of curvature and a lot of texture in the wood, and the grain pattern also adds to it. I have a lot of creases in here, so spraying, as I typically would, doesn't exactly work in this operation. I'm always going to miss something, and there's always going to be extra runs occurring because I'm going from so many different angles. So in this case, I decided to just use Osmo oil wax, so that penetrates into the teak wood. Now teak wood has a natural oil that would preserve it itself, but with the Osmo oil it helps the grain to pop more, that you can see the texture of the wood. So I take one pass through with this, I let it set for around 15 minutes, and then I have to wipe it all down. Now this plexiglass that we're cutting is actually the leftover from our jukebox build, so I'm going to stick to the narrative of this project being 100% reclaimed material. I'm going to put caulking on all the joints just to support this plexiglass to the exterior frame, but after doing the first pass through I realized I had a bit of a shaky hand, so that's where my dad comes into play to make sure that I don't ruin the piece on the last step.
Thanks for watching our video on how we put together this Japanese style bent wood lamp. Now everything we used over here was all scrap wood left over in the shop, so everything is just repurposed material. We didn't have to cut any new wood for this piece. If you did like this video, please be sure to subscribe, hit that alert button, and to like this video. If you want to see some previous content that we posted, be sure to watch how we put together a custom curvy woodworking guitar and stand.